Hey guys, welcome to this video lecture series on the subject of energy technology. I'm Harsh Panchal, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. In previous video, we have started the new chapter of hydrogen and methanol as energy sources. Well, in which we have seen different properties of hydrogen and we have seen the different production method for the hydrogen. So if you have missed that video, you can find that in the I button on the top of the screen. Now let's start this video by the production of hydrogen by means of fossil fuel method. Well, this fossil fuel method utilizes different form of fossil fuel for the production of hydrogen as a mixture of carbon dioxide and hydrogen formed in the first stage. The procedure in common use nowadays is the steam reforming of methane or the other hydrocarbons or different light liquid hydrocarbons and partial oxidation of heavier hydrocarbon in presence of steam at high temperature. A part of hydrogen is produced originated from this hydrocarbon. So basically nowadays we are mainly focusing on the steam reforming process of methane and different hydrocarbons for the production of hydrogen. In order to remove the carbon monoxide in this fossil fuel, this mixture is submitted to the water gas shift reaction with steam, where carbon monoxide is converted into the carbon dioxide with formation of additional hydrogen. So what we are going to do is we have to remove this carbon monoxide from the mixture. So in order to achieve this, we will carry the water shift reaction as the carbon monoxide plus water gives carbon dioxide plus hydrogen ion. So basically this is how we can generate one hydrogen atom, and 1440 kilojoule per kilogram of energy is get released. This CO2 is now absorbed in alkali medium. If a small quantity of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide is still left, they can be converted into methane. So after carrying this water shift reaction, the carbon dioxide, which is basically harmful for the environment concerned, hence this gas is then absorbed in the alkali medium. If still some amount of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide are left, they can again be converted into the methane. So the typical fossil method is used for the production of hydrogen is the ion steam process. The ion steam system is designed to use air, steam and coal to produce hydrogen. Well, this hydrogen is need to be free from nitrogen and also from the carbon monoxide without need of water gas shift reaction. So basically what we are going to do is we will have air, steam and coal for the production of hydrogen by means of this ion stream process. So in which we can produce hydrogen without the water gas shift reaction and we do not generate any carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. The reaction carried out is Fe plus H2O gives FeO plus H2. So in this method, the reaction of steam and ion take place at around 815 degrees Celsius. This is being carried out and nearly pure hydrogen and iron oxide is generated. You can see by the reaction that we are generating iron oxide, that is nothing but FeO, and nearly pure hydrogen, that is H2. So now this iron is removed from the oxide and is separated into the vessel. And again it is returned for the further use in the reaction. Here in the image you can see the schematic diagram of such ion steam system in which we are reacting this iron with water in order to produce iron oxide and hydrogen ion. So this iron oxide then recovered or separated in the separate vessel and it is then recycled back to the reaction chamber. So this is how we can produce hydrogen by means of fossil fuel method. Now let's see the next method, that is of the solar energy method. Well, there are two different methods to utilize the solar energy for the production of hydrogen. One is biophotolysis and another one is the photoelectrolysis. So let's understand the biophotolysis first. So in a natural processes, the plant material absorb the solar energy and utilize this energy to split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen atom, and some amount of electron are generated. This electron then interact with the carbon dioxide. Well, similar kind of the structure can be prepared with the alkali material. This alkali to the exposure of this alkali to the sunlight and water yields the mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It is combinedly this hydrogen ion and electron from the photolysis reaction. So by means of alkali we can utilize solar energy to produce hydrogen. Now let's see the next type of the solar energy for the production of hydrogen, and that is photoelectrolysis. In normal electrolysis, water is split into the hydrogen and oxygen by passing electric current through the electrolyte solution. But in the photoelectrolysis, this current is generated by exposing one or both the electrode to the sunlight. So what we are going to do is, we will expose this electrode to the sunlight so that we can generate the electricity directly from the electrode. And this electricity then can be utilized for the electrolysis process in order to split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen are liberated at the respective electrode by the decomposition of water, and just as in the normal electrolysis process. So like what happened in the normal electrolysis process, that similar kind of phenomena is happening in this photoelectrolysis as well. At least one of the electrode in this photoelectrolysis process is usually made up of semiconducting material. So the semiconducting material can easily utilize solar energy to produce electricity, that we have seen in the solar energy chapter. So here is the typical image of the photoelectrolysis process. So the electric current is being generated by means of solar energy by PV cell in this particular diagram, and this electric current is then utilized for the purpose of electrolysis. If we utilize semiconducting material for the electrode, then we can completely eliminate the use of PV panel. So this semiconducting material directly converts solar energy into the electric current and produce electrolysis process and generate hydrogen. Now let's move to the next topic of this chapter, and that is hydrogen storage. Well, hydrogen can be stored in different way depending on the various field of application. Storage can be done in the form of gases, liquid and structured solid. There are basically 5 different methods that have been considered for the storage of hydrogen. So basically storage of hydrogen fully depend on the application of this hydrogen. It can be stored either in the form of liquid or gases, or it can be stored in the structured solid as well. So here is the classification of the storage of hydrogen as compressed gas storage, liquid storage, line packing system, underground storage and storage as metal hydrate. So let's understand the compressed gas storage. So basically what we are doing is, we are compressing the hydrogen gas so that we can store it into the large container made up of the steel material. But this is the costliest method for the storage of hydrogen. In conventional industry, hydrogen system compressed gas is used to supply relatively small quantity of hydrogen. But when hydrogen is considered as a fuel, it is soon realized that this tank of the storage for the hydrogen is not really good idea. So here in the image you can see the typical tank that is utilized for the storage of hydrogen in the form of compressed hydrogen. So for the application of fuel, such storage system is not ideal, since it is very bulky and very small amount of hydrogen can be stored. So what is the next method and what is the most useful method to store this hydrogen? That is the liquid storage. A more practical approach to store hydrogen as liquid at low temperature liquid hydrogen boils up to -253 degrees Celsius, and therefore it must be maintained at below this temperature in storage unless the pressure is maintained. So either we can maintain the liquid hydrogen by temperature or by pressurizing it, since its boiling point is very low, around minus 253 degrees Celsius. The liquid hydrogen fuel is used in rocket propeller in the space program is the one of the best example of storage of hydrogen for such systems. So the large storage of liquid hydrogen is also designed and constructed in some part of the world. Here you can see that how one spherical tank stores the liquid hydrogen. The next method for the storage of hydrogen is the line packing system, in which what we do is we store this hydrogen in the pipelines or the network of such pipeline, so that we can easily monitor the flow of hydrogen and can utilize the hydrogen when it is required. The next type of storage is the underground storage. The cheapest way to store this hydrogen for the distribution would probably in the underground. So this facility similar to those used for the storage of natural gas. Since hydrogen gas tends to escape rapidly through the porous material, proper care should be taken. This storage facility includes depleted oil, gas reservoir and aquifers. So now let's move to the next storage system, that is metal hydrate. By direct reaction, the number of metal and alloys are formed the compound that are called as metal hydrate. So what we do is we store this hydrogen in the form of metal hydrate. So when we heat this metal hydrate, hydrogen is liberated for the application. The main feature of this such system, the main feature of this hydrate is that the pressure of gas released by heat depend mainly on the temperature and not on the composition. So the gas released is depend on the temperature but not on the composition of the metal hydrate. At fixed temperature, the gas pressure remains essentially constant until all the hydrogen is exhausted. So this was all about the storage of hydrogen. Now let's move to the next topic of this chapter is the hydrogen transportation. Well, hydrogen can be transported in many ways. The simplest method for the transportation of hydrogen is the pipeline. At present, the long pipeline network for the hydrogen transportation is being operational by few companies. For the same application, nearly 3 times more hydrogen is required than that of the natural gas because of its low heating value. So the low heating value of hydrogen means around 3 times more hydrogen is required for the same application than the natural gas. So power required to drive such hydrogen compressor is considerably greater than that of the need for the natural gas. So such kind of transportation system are relatively costlier. Now let's see the next type of the storage or transportation system, and that is liquid hydrogen transportation. The hydrogen in a bulk can be transported and distributed as a liquid. The double wall insulated tank of hydrogen liquid with capacity around 7,000 gallon or more are carried by road vehicle and up to 34,000 by railways. So basically this liquid hydrogen around 7,000 is being transported by the road and around 34,000 is being transported by the rails. The distribution of liquid hydrogen by piping jacketed with the nitrogen has been proposed. So we provide jacket of the liquid nitrogen so that we can insulate the heat of this liquid hydrogen. The next type of this transportation is the metal hydrate transportation. The hydrogen can be transported as a solid metal hydrate, but the main drawback of such system is the weight of hydrate relative to its hydrogen content. So we have to carry unnecessary weight of metal since we only require the hydrogen from this hydrate metal. So now let's move to the next topic of this chapter, and that is application of hydrogen. Well, this hydrogen can be applied to many applications and it can be utilized for many purposes, such as for the industrial use. So we are at present utilizing different fossil fuel and different natural gas for the industrial purpose. This natural gas and fossil fuel can easily be replaced by the hydrogen gas. For the residential purpose, this hydrogen can also be used and it can easily replace the LPG cylinder and different natural gases. So this hydrogen can also be used as a fuel for the power up of different vehicles. It can also be used for the aircraft, such as it used in the space program. It can also be utilized for the generation of electricity by means of different fuel cells. Now let's move to the last topic of this chapter, and that is safety and management. Since this hydrogen is highly flammable, it must be handled with care. So special design equipment are need to be constructed. The low temperature of liquid hydrogen causes air in the vicinity of liquefier. Since the oxygen is more rapidly liquefied than nitrogen, and oxygen-rich liquid may increase the flammability nature. So we have to separate this hydrogen from the air, since air contains oxygen and which can easily ignite or catch fire this hydrogen. The hazard. Both the real and possible hazard presented by the hydrogen must be evaluated before it can be used as a fuel and energy carrier in any particular system. Hydrogen mainly used as an intermediate chemical and petrochemical industry, the three largest consumer being the production of ammonia and methane and different refinery crude oils. So we need to consider different safety management, and we have to consider the leakages of this hydrogen and fire protection. So the leakage from the steam and the flange or the valve are possible for the 65% of fire. The heat exchanger upstream or downstream of the high temperature methanation conversion processes, boiler and ammonia converter has the most leakages fitting in the result into the hydrogen leakage. So prevention measure are also be need to consider, as three conditions must be fulfilled simultaneously for the fault inside the system: hydrogen as a fuel, oxygen or chlorination as the oxidizing agent, and the source of ignition. So in order to avoid the explosion in the hydrogen system, these three conditions need to be considered. So this concludes the chapter of hydrogen and methanol. We will see you in the next video. Till then, keep watching, keep learning.